Hello everybody and welcome to Absurd Hypotheticals, the show where we overthink dumb questions so you don't have to. I'm your host Marcus Lehner, and I'm joined here today by Chris Yee and Ben Storms. Say hi, guys.
Hey, I'm Chris Yee.
Hey, I'm Ben Storms.
And last week I actually discovered something that I want to share with you guys. I discovered that unicorn cereal is a thing. It's been a thing since this spring.
Is it like at Starbucks?
No, it's not at Starbucks. Although unicorn stuff is getting more popular and stuff. But this unicorn cereal is a little less impressive than other unicorn stuff. Specifically because it's basically just Fruit Loops, but with less colors.
Wait, what? Like...
So, it's made by Kellogg's. They're both made by Kellogg's. And Fruit Loops has 6 colors. It's just the colors of the rainbow. But unicorn cereal is only the purple, blue, and red.
But unicorns are more colors than that.
I know.
Like, the point of unicorns is that that's the rainbow.
Yeah, they're associated with the rainbow.
I need to make a clarification. It's not just Fruit Loops, because apparently the flavor, according to this box that I've been shown, is magic cupcake flavor.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't tasted it.
Well, that's also Fruit Loop flavor, because that's just sugar, Ben.
Yeah.
That's just sugar.
You can't prove that.
Okay, here's what gets me. The unicorn on the fucking box has yellow on it.
Oh my god, wait. Hold on. This is very important. I have seen a second picture on this box that shows the side of the box where you can establish your unicorn name.
Oh god. Ben, what is your unicorn name and how do I get mine?
Okay, I will tell you guys yours after so mine is Lemonade Snowflake Dream.
Lemonade Snowflake
That
Dream.
is unfortunate.
Lemonade Snowflake Dream.
Lemonade Snowflake. Oh boy. All right. Chris, what month were you born?
January.
You are Moonbeam Crystal Dazzler.
Oh yeah, that's way better.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
Definitely a stripper name.
It is also 100% a stripper name. Marcus, what month were you born?
July.
You are Violet Raindrop Mist. You're a hippie child.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. At least I'm not a stripper. I'll be in the 70s if I don't have to take off my clothes for money.
You're not a stripper or piss snow. So, you know what? I think you came out all right.
What if it just rained piss snow? Like, what if it just was pre-piss when it came down?
This is not a hypothetical we are going to do.
That's the next question. That's next episode.
Put it in the lightning round. What if snow was just piss?
Oh, God.
Hey, guys, here's a scenario. What if it just rained piss? Fuck. But actually...
I know I threw you off your righteous rage game right there, Marcus, but I had to do that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You tempered
in
his
my
rage.
my Violet Moonbeam Mist.
Wait, shit. Hold on.
Violet
Raindrop
You stole my
Mist.
name.
Violet Raindrop Mist.
Ah, yes. Violent Raindrop Mist is going to get us to the next question.
Violent raindrop.
What if friction was doubled? Ben, what if friction was doubled?
Yeah, let me pull us out of this death spiral I got us into. So this is a question that there's a lot of ways we sort of thought about how you could go with it. I sort of started looking at it in just a how would this affect immediately my day-to-day life, in a very general sense. So sort of the way we handled this mechanically. There's a property of materials called the coefficient of friction that is basically just the amount of friction that it has when it's, the force from friction, effectively. And we sort of assumed that is double. So there's a lot of effects from this, obviously. One of the things I thought about was extra heat that would be generated. And I actually found an equation that would calculate the change in temperature. Given the coefficient of friction and the sliding speed and heat conductivity of the materials and stuff like that. But it just winds up being that the heat generated is double. And I don't think that actually does a whole lot most of the time. Not enough to
It'll be easier to start fires.
Yeah, well, yeah, if anything, it's kind of useful. Because
Hooray for Boy Scouts?
Actually, the other thing, too, is that, if it's cold out, you can, rub your body to make yourself warmer, more effectively. I don't know. There's not a whole lot there.
Okay.
It's
So-
not my typical strategy.
I mean, no, you
Some
can
people
do
do
that. You can do that.
They like rub their arms.
Yeah, it'll just be more. It'll be like actually effective now, probably like to a degree.
Yeah, instead of just it being a way to complain that you're cold. Just
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, it's not just really passive aggressive way to say you want to go inside anymore. But so sort of why I sort of left that avenue because I just thought there was going to be a whole lot there. And I realized that sort of in this world where friction is doubled, one of the biggest winners in it, don't laugh, is going to be companies that produce lubricant. Not like that. Don't mean that. Nope.
Ben.
Nope. No.
Ben.
No.
It's Marcus. He has to do it.
Marcus?
I have to do it. So if friction is doubled, is sex going to be really, really good or
No.
really, really bad?
Marcus, heat is also doubled. We went over this.
Wait, did we?
We did.
He just said that.
Oh, we went over heat being doubled.
The
Not
heat
in
being-
relation-
no,
not
we
in
didn't
the
go over that.
context of it making sex bad.
No, but what I mean is doors. So door hinges are made of steel. The steel on steel coefficient of friction, when it's lubricated, it's about 0.16, which, so if you double that, so we say that we had double friction, still lubricated, it's about the same amount of friction as like wood on wood. So definitely some more resistance, but it's still, you could totally like open a door. However, when steel on steel is not lubricated, it's 0.5 to 0.8, which doubled is a pretty big range, obviously, but a useful like point that falls in there is rubber on rubber, which obviously does not move very well, and that's 1.16. So it could be harder to move than that. So I think what's going to happen is that basically any situation where you have things that, move, you're going to have like some WD-40 on you, because if it's not lubricated, it might just not move.
You're not going to be able to open doors.
Right. So like I was also wondering if like just doors become less popular. Like obviously you still have one like for your outer, but like
They're
I mean
not
like
trending right
interior,
now.
like your interior doors may be a little less useful because they just don't open half the time.
It can be all beads.
Perfect. Great. Just what I wanted.
Violent raindrop mist storm is going to be super happy with all the beads around.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Keep on changing your name.
We know Violet.
This is not me changing it to be funny. This is me literally not being able to remember
I
three
agree.
words.
Well, I'm Lemonade, Snowflake, something else, but that's the important part.
I was like Moonbeam or something.
Moonbeam.
I think I was the mist, and Marcus keeps on stealing my mist.
No, I definitely ended mist.
Okay.
Oh God. All right. Anyway, so that was one thing I thought about. But the other big thing I thought about was sort of just skin. So obviously we all have skin. Sorry, any listeners who don't have skin. For many reasons, I'm very sorry about that. But skin itself also has friction, and is affected by friction, obviously. And one place where this causes issues just in our regular world is no, still once again, still
You've
not.
talked about lube and skin, Ben.
Still not.
This is
Nope.
not on me.
No. Okay. Anyway, a very big problem in like hospitals is bed sores, which basically happen when you have, like pressure on the skin combined with friction. And so actually a lot of the research I was able to find about like fabric and skin friction was related to like hospitals, conveniently enough. But I think the problem we're going to hit is that with double friction, you're going to wind up having like bed sore issues just in everyday life, which really sucks. So here's kind of the thing I was running into, is that generally the coefficient of friction for dry skin is about 0.25 to 0.3. It depended on the study. That around doubled when it was wet, which kind of makes sense. Your skin gets more like sort of tacky when it's wet. And that friction got about halved when it was oiled. When I think you can see where I'm going here is that
Ben, I see where you're going with it, but you won't let me say it.
so no, it's gonna get better too. So one of the things I'm saying is that basically if you're oiled up, you're gonna be up about the same amount of friction as you currently are today. So that's an option. Here's the other thing to keep in mind that I learned through this research. The coefficient of skin on fabrics it depends on the fabric, but like cotton is about 0.6, polyester is like 0.7, wool is like 0.75. All of those doubled, once again, get pretty high, and we're probably going to be like somewhere between uncomfortable and dangerous to wear.
Okay.
So there's a very real chance people just start nude and up for comfort and survivability.
So naked and lubed up.
Naked and lubed up, everyone, all the time. I'm not saying you have to, or that you, like, you know, obviously here in Boston, we can't do that in the winter. We don't want to be a bunch of, like, slippery, naked people in the snow in Boston. That's not going to be great for anyone for any reason. So you might have to, you know, grin and bear it and not bear it.
The heat might help in the winter.
The heat could help in the winter, that's true. But, and the other thing I hit is that because of all the oil going around and everything, there's a very real chance that, like, you're going to buy a lot of clothes because your clothes are going to get oily, the ones that you have, and then you're going to try to wash them, and there's more friction, and they're going to break down faster. So that's going to
oil yourself up, and then you're going to create heat, and you're just going to burst into fire.
That is technically possible, I guess. I feel like it's unlikely. I didn't actually look into that because, not going to lie, didn't really cross my mind. But I guess it's possible. Anyway, slippery naked people.
And you're saying your answer, it didn't cross your mind that this might be construed as a sex thing, like, at all. Like, this whole your lube and the naked and the in the bed stuff.
Marcus
didn't really
cross
your mind that maybe
I am an upstanding gentleman, and I deny these allegations.
You are a man with incredible tunnel vision.
I guess I just got blinded by all the slippery naked people.
Ben's like, if I look away from exactly my thing for a second, I'm going to see a whole world of naked, oily people in my brain that are just sexing it up.
Marcus, I was blinded by the glistening. Anyway, Chris, what did you do?
So I didn't focus on people. I focused on cars. So cars are interesting because there's like a lot of things going on with cars. So specifically the motor. The motor has like a lot of moving parts, and moving parts means a lot of friction. And Ben mentioned like the steel on steel friction and stuff like that. So I actually found a stat saying that cars and engines, only 20% of their energy goes to actually moving the car. They're actually very inefficient. And the rest of that is just lost to like friction and heat. So if you increase friction, it's going to decrease the gas mileage and everything's just going to like way less efficient.
Right.
And then you also have like overheating problems because like overheating is not good for the engine at all.
You don't say. I don't know much about cars, but that sounds bad.
Yeah. I mean, people's engines like catch on fire and stuff. It's not good.
Heat in an engine is already a concern, so you're going to add more heat. Not great.
Right. And these will be amplified if you double friction, obviously. And usually people use oil on engines to like make it more efficient. And you can do this in this situation. But the problem is oil and other fluids, they also have friction, but it's in the form of viscosity. So oil is going to lube it up, but it's going to also be thicker than it normally is. So it'll be half as effective as it normally is. So it'll help. It'll just be worse. And then on a side note with the fluids, I just thought this was kind of weird to think about, but the ocean would be like thick.
Oh, yeah.
It would be weird.
Good old chunky ocean, just like Mom used to make.
So that's the engine. The engine is a downside to the cars, but an upside to the cars is the tires on the ground. So the wheels, they are connected like an axle, and that'll be less efficient, but the tires are making contact on the ground, and they're pushing off of the ground so that the friction is like pushing them forward.
Right.
So like in snow and stuff like that, in mud, the tires will actually be more efficient. So you'll be able to like, you won't get stuck as easily.
The car doesn't actually get to go faster, right? No.
No.
I think you might have better acceleration.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
At least somewhat.
Oh, yeah, you could like, instead of like spinning out when you slam your foot on the gas pedal,
you'll just go.
Catch more. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
0 to 60 in seconds.
In go.
Right.
So tires, a plus. Another negative is air friction. So the car is moving through the air, and the air that's hitting the car has friction on the car. And so air resistance has like two factors to it. one of them's called form drag, which is like dependent on the shape of the car. Has nothing to do with friction. But then the other one's called skin friction.
Ooh.
Back to the fucking skin again.
Specifically skin friction. And that's just based on the material of the car. So if friction is double, then obviously that's going to slow down the car. And that's also going to affect the gas mileage. I couldn't figure out exactly how much the skin friction affects air resistance. I can just assume it's linear. I don't know.
It's a pretty...
I found equations, and they weren't helpful in my understanding of them. So...
I mean, that's pretty good for the show. Just assume everything's linear.
Yeah. So, yeah, the max speed of cars will go down, and gas mileage will be reduced. But then a plus of cars is the brakes. The brakes will be more efficient. So you'll basically it'll be way more responsive when you hit the brake. If you're going like super fast and then you hit the brake, you'll stop almost immediately. So lots of ups and downs with this car thing. But I think my ultimate conclusion was that cars will be slower and less efficient, but they'll be safer. So you'll be going super slow, but like if a kid runs in front of your car, you'll be able to stop. You won't hit them.
Oh, that's good.
But then the kid's gonna fall and skin his knee, and because of double friction, his knee's gonna be fucking torn
he's
to
gonna come off.
shreds.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's not your fault though. You didn't hit him.
Yeah, I guess
You're
the world
good.
is dangerous enough that we can make cars safer.
Yeah. So that was my thing. Marcus, what did you do?
All right, so I was also doing a couple things. I looked at cars, actually, oils. I actually was looking at rock climbing to see if we could do like Spider-Man things.
Yeah, I looked at that too.
But the way bugs climb and the way we climb and the way friction works doesn't really help us rock climb very good, even if we have double friction. Like, rock climbing will be easier, but like not enough that I was excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I sometimes do when I get stuck on a question, is I was like, what's my beach day going to look like? How's this going to affect my summer day at the beach? And so the very first thing is, what is the sand going to be like? And my scientific conclusion is the sand is going to be weird.
Is that a scientific term or?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure
So,
you're rigorous.
The way soils work is that the strength of the soil and the way that it functions is based on its internal friction angle, which is not the friction. It's just basically if you would have it, if there'd be like a landslide, it's like what angle that landslide could start off at. So basically, the long and short of it, doing some calculations, the friction angle of sand would go from its natural loose sand at 32 degrees to around 40 degrees. So what does that mean? Which means that instead of falling under the nice, loose, and happy sand category, it falls into the rough gravel territory.
Oh.
So, like I said, it's going to be weird because it's going to still be like fine little sand grains, but they're really going to move and interact with you like rough gravel does. So, like, you're not going to sink into it like that. And
It'll just be more solid.
That is
it's going to be more
weird.
solid. And I think it's just going to suck.
Yeah.
Because it's like think compacted sand, like if you like beat it down a bunch and then like hit it like with your knees, like that sucks.
Yeah.
And along those lines of it being a little bit unpleasant is any sand that gets blown up into your bathing suit or just the sand in the wind blowing against your legs is going to be twice as bad, like scientifically, but I think like actually for your body, it's going to be infinitely worse. Like, I don't know what the denominator is in that equation, but it's like 1 billion.
Yeah.
So the sand's going to suck. So it's like, okay, well, how about the water? Can we at least go in the water and swim around? And so like Chris said, the way friction works in water is the viscosity of the liquid. So something very viscous is going to be like more jello-ish compared to something very non-viscous like water. And my question was, could you go swimming? And finally, another great what if show already beat us to it, the Mythbusters.
Much more popular than us.
Yeah, just a tad. For now. Just for now.
Yeah.
They're going to die eventually, and then we'll be more popular.
Well, they already died. They already ended. So.
Oh, well, great. Well, we can only catch up from here. We have a stationary target. So according to the Mythbusters, Michael Phelps could physically swim in pancake syrup. which is 2,500 times more viscous than water. So if water is twice as viscous, you're going to be fine. So to put it actually in perspective, milk has triple the viscosity of water. So the ocean will be halfway between water and milk.
Yeah, it's not as thick as I thought it would be.
Yeah, I also imagined it being like pancake syrup, and it's sucking a lot to go through it.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually pretty okay.
That's not bad at all, yeah.
And then I was like, all right, fine. You can swim in it, but like, are the waves going to push you around? And looking at the physics on that one, the thing pushing you around with waves isn't really the frictional drag force that's like pulling on, like that pulls you. It's just like the normal force of it actually like pushing against you, like there being a bunch of water trying to go one way and pushing on you straight on, which is different than friction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like a little harder also because it's twice as viscous. So it'll be a little annoying, but not something you can't handle.
Right.
So far my beach day is kind of just a little bit worse, but there is one thing that does make it suck a bit more. And that's going to be the waves. So the majority of waves are formed because wind pushes along the top surface of the water. And so there's a transfer of energy from the wind onto the water through that process by, you guessed it, friction.
Mm-hmm.
And because the friction coefficient is linearly proportional to the wind speed, the waves you get would basically be the same winds you get at double the wind speed that you're having.
Oh.
So
okay.
How's our beach looking now? So at small wind speeds, like day-to-day type stuff, you'll get normally like 1.5 to 3 foot waves. And the way actual on the beach waves happen is a bit different than ocean waves. So I'm talking like, it's hard to say how big the wave on the beach is. It's pretty close, but it's a little bit less than these numbers. Just to preempt you before we get to the extremes.
Right.
Just so no one can call you out on it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hedging my bets. So average day, 1.5 to 3 foot waves normally. So these day-to-day waves are going to go from that to about 2 to 5 feet. So it's only a couple feet higher. So like a rougher day, but not bad. The thing is, the height of the wave is actually exponentially proportional to the wind speed. So that one is not linear. So as you get to higher winds, the difference between the double wind is higher proportionally. So if we have, say, a blustery summer day with 20 mile an hour winds, you're getting about 5 foot waves. But with double friction, you're looking at 12 foot waves.
That's fun.
And 20 miles an hour is not like unheard of on a regular day. So you're already starting to mess with people at the beach. So now we get to the fun bit and we can start talking about hurricanes. So to put it in perspective, the data I could find, so at category 5, the wind speeds of a hurricane are topping about 160 miles an hour. So waves from hurricanes like this, based on the buoys they have out, average in the ocean 60 feet and can go up to over 100 feet high, these waves in a category 5 storm. So these aren't these aren't the ones hitting the shore. But
they're just like in the middle of the ocean somewhere.
They're just in the middle of the ocean. And for ships, they are that big and they're fucking crazy. I saw some videos on YouTube, but wow. And so which ones are hitting the shore? So Hurricane Allen was a category 5 storm. And the waves hitting the shore were exceeding 20 feet in addition to a nearly 40-foot storm surge. So they're not that much less than 60 feet from where they normally are to the top. So I really tried to find what the wave height would be if we had a category 5 storm. But the program I found online for calculating wave height per wind speed actually stopped at that point. It wouldn't let me put any higher numbers. It just said no. And there was no data for anything higher than category 5 storms because they don't happen really. So the best I can say is a category 1 storm would have the equivalent waves of a category 5 storm. So basically anything above category 2 or anything category 2 and above will have bigger waves than any other previous hurricane that's happened. So we're kind of fucked and my beach day is a little bit ruined.
Yeah, just don't. I'm definitely not going to the ocean.
Yeah, that would be a bit rough. Probably don't go out in a boat ever, I think is also pretty valid.
Stay away from water.
Yeah, water seems not ideal.
Move inland, and then you can find out what happens to tornadoes in double friction, because I didn't do that calculation. But, yeah, I think that's all I got. So, and I think with that, we can move on to our next one.
To the ads.
Oh, yeah.
You forgot about the break.
I forgot about the ads. I want to dump right into the next one because I'm very excited for it.
It is, but we're teasing them on it.
Get teased, fuckers.
This week's ads are on strike. Instead, groove out to these tunes.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you stopped and grabbed something to eat because our next one's a food question. Well, a food fight question.
Ooh.
And that question is, which fast food mascot would win in a fight? So we all selected our champion, and we're going to argue about which one is the best.
Yes. And I did Ronald McDonald, the obvious one.
That's his full title.
Yeah.
That's his legendary Magic the Gathering card. Ronald McDonald.
Obvious one.
I mean, it's the one that you think of if you ask this question. So
yeah.
I figured we have to include him. And there's actually a lot of stuff to go off of on this one for Ronald McDonald.
There's
he has
some rich lore.
Yeah, a really rich lore. So I started with the commercials. And there actually weren't that many powers in the commercials. There were a few. There are a couple times where he uses balloons to fly. So that can be useful. He did actually, in like a holiday commercial, he flew without balloons, so he could just like fly in general, but I didn't use that as...
The balloons are a trick.
Yeah.
People pop his balloons when he's trying to escape, and he's like, "Ha ha!"
He just holds them so he doesn't freak people out when he flies.
He more consistently uses the balloons in the commercials and other stuff, so I went with that for his power.
Fair enough.
And then there's one weird commercial where there's like an alien that stole all their food, and he used a straw to like suck it back down to Earth. So he apparently has like super lungs or something.
Super sucking power.
Yeah. So those were the two that I got from the commercials. There were a ton of commercials, and those were the only ones I could find. But I did find powers in other things. So he has 2 video games. One of them, one of them was for the Sega Game Gear in 1994. It's called Ronald McDonald and the Magical World. And in that, he uses an umbrella to slow his fall.
He can already fly.
Well, yeah, he can fly. The balloons go up. He needs a way to get down. So he'll use the balloons to get up, and he'll float down with an umbrella. And he also used that umbrella to like hit enemies in that video game.
Well, that's not a superpower.
It's not
that's
a
just having an
superpower.
umbrella.
Just having an umbrella he hits people with.
It's just a weapon option that he has. That was that video game. The second video game was McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. That's for the Sega Genesis in 1993. And in this, he has a power that he actually uses in like a bunch of different things, where like an infinite scarf comes out of his sleeve. You know, like the clowns, they like pull the scarf out of their sleeves and it goes forever.
Right.
He has one of those, and he can use it to get to high places. So he like shoots it out, sort of like Spider-Man, and then he like swings on it.
Okay.
And he can also, I guess he can make it float in the air, so he can like walk on it. He used that a couple of times to like get across like cliffs and stuff.
He can fly though.
He can fly. I don't know why he
so
didn't.
many redundant flying powers.
He also has like sparkly magic. It was like just general sparkly magic in this video game, where sparkles like came out of his fingers and damaged the enemies.
Oh, okay. Just general sparkle magic.
And then, unrelated to superpowers, I just wanted to point out the bosses in this video game. So one of them was an alien, which is like normal, kind of.
Fine.
There's an anthropomorphic tomato.
Oh no.
There's a goblin-like creature flying in a clown-like robot. That's how Wikipedia described it.
That's the Wikipedia description. It's actually a what's the Sonic dude? The Dr. Eggman?
Robotnik or Eggman,
Yeah.
depending on...
Yeah. Eggman, who is also known as Dr. Robotnik. Dr. Eggman Robotnik?
Yeah, I guess you could just use those words to describe him, too. And then this last one... So Wikipedia described this last one as pirate with lips for a head.
Oh no.
And I looked at a picture of it, and it is a pirate with lips for a head.
So is there a neck and lips on top, or just
Nope,
like
it's
shoulders
just like-
to lips?
It's just shoulders to lips, just like a
Okay.
giant set of lips on as a head.
I
With
think
a
that's...
hat on it. It has a pirate hat.
Oh, it has a
Like
hat
the Rolling
too.
Stones thing with a hat on it?
Oh, yeah. That's Aerosmith, right? Rolling Stones or Aerosmith?
Pretty sure it's Rolling Stones. Oh god.
I think it's
I'm gonna be
Rolling
wrong on my podcast.
Yeah, so those were the video games.
Oh yeah, it's Rolling Stones. Thank the fucking Lord.
Okay. You were
Oh,
right
now
the first
Chris is
time.
wrong. Yeah.
Okay, so those were the video games. And now we move to the animated movie. So they had an animated movie come out in 1990. It's called The Adventure of Ronald McDonald, McTreasure Island. And they get like stuck in the book Treasure Island. That's like the premise of it. And in this, he has a few powers. He can... So like some people are snake charmers, but he uses the snake charmer on like a rope. So he can like control the rope if he plays a flute.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then later in it, he uses this to control vines when he's in a forest. So he can do that. He has the infinite scarf thing in this.
Mm-hmm.
He has the balloons, and he has the umbrella in this as well. So that's the movie. Next is the TV show. So he had a TV show, actually, and I actually remember this TV show when it came out. It ran from 1998 to 2003. It was more like short movies, basically.
Yeah, no, I remember it too. It was actually pretty big.
Yeah, it was like a quality cartoon. So it's called Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald. It was made by Clasco Supo, which is the animation studio, and they actually made like Rugrats and Wild Thornberrys and Rocket Power and All Real Monsters. So they're like a legit company.
Damn.
Interesting.
Who sold their soul to McDonald's?
Yeah, but it was a good show. So there were actually 6 episodes of these, and they're each 40 minutes long, total of 4 hours. I watched every single one of them in prep for this, doing my research.
Are you sure you didn't just watch the first one and got real into it?
That too.
Yeah, I took one for the team, guys. I had to watch all that Ronald McDonald. I love him.
So in the show, he has a few different like vehicles that he has access to. He has an anthropomorphic car, so it can drive and it can like talk and stuff, and it can also drive on water. He has a magic boat, which is like, it started out like super mini, and then he added water to it, and it grew big to like a real boat. He had a playground, which turned into a rocket ship that he could fly into space.
Interesting.
So he has access to a spaceship. And then there are a few summons that he can actually do by whistling his fingers. So he used this once to summon a bunch of butterflies that like created like an air, like a hot air balloon, but instead of the balloon is butterflies.
Okay, so he can fly again.
So he can fly again, another mode of flight. He summoned a guy called I Am Hungry. That was the guy's name. Apparently this is like a character in McDonald's lore that shows up a bunch. But it's basically just like a giant green fuzzy guy that says I am hungry over and over again and eats whatever food is around. So I figured this might be useful if like one of your guys uses food as a weapon or something. I don't know what you guys are doing, but could be useful. And then he summons horses once. So he like went to medieval times and he whistled and horses came. So he has access to horses.
When you said he went to medieval times, I thought you meant like he went to the dinner establishment medieval times. I got really confused.
Yeah.
He went to the medieval times melee and won with all his scarf magic and 8 forms of flying.
They had a partnership.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, and let's get to some of the actual powers, because these are just like things that he can summon.
Oh, they're just his bonus powers until we get to his real powers.
I don't really consider those powers. Those are like vehicles that he was using. But these are the powers that from the show. So he had like a scroll of paper that he unrolled, and it turned into like a door. And when he opened the door, it went to like an interdimensional space. And he uses this on a bear because a bear is chasing him. So he uses the door and traps the bear in the door.
Interesting.
He fights a kraken in the show, actually.
What? What is this show?
Yeah, because it was like a pirate-themed episode. So he fights a kraken, and he ends up tying its mouth closed, and that's how he wins.
The one weakness of a kraken. Oh no, now I can't enjoy delicious McDonald's burgers.
And there's one, this power is weird, but he uses pepper. He like blows pepper into the air, and it makes a cloud sneeze, and then the cloud rains down onto the ground, and the hedges grow, like a hedge maze grows up.
Interesting.
That seems like a very complicated and obscure power.
I don't know if that's the limitation of that one power, if that's the only thing he can do with it, but if so, pretty useless to me. But he can also bring plants to life. There's like a plant sculpture thing, and he made it into like a plant monster that like fought for him. So that can be helpful. Let's see.
God, how many fucking powers do you
have? I know,
have?
there's a lot.
You're like flipping to like page 4 of your fucking powers list.
So he was in a room once. He was trapped in a room and he couldn't get out. But there was like a hatch on top. So he just like walked onto the wall and he walked to the hatch. But
why? He can fly. He can fucking fly. We get it.
It wasn't just him though, because there were kids trapped in the room as well. So he wasn't actually walking on the wall, because when he walked on the wall, it rotated the room and the kids fell too. So he can rotate rooms.
He can like alter gravity?
I guess so.
Interesting.
I mean, how do you think those golden arches stay up? Those aren't structurally sound. An arch is the weakest shape against gravity. Everyone knows that.
So those are all the powers from all the like fiction lore. But there was some things from like real life sort of that like McDonald's has like said in their policy. So McDonald's has like a very strict policy of like who they hire to play Ronald McDonald. And in 2005, they actually made a push to make Ronald McDonald like more fit because they're getting a lot of like publicity on like obesity and stuff. So they actually fired all the actors that were out of shape. So Ronald McDonald is super fit in real life. And they always insist that they're not actually actors, that Ronald McDonald is real. So like when he shows up in an appearance or something, he's not credited as an actor. He's credited as Ronald McDonald playing himself. And actors aren't allowed to say their real name if they're in costume, which like, so there's one case where an actor got into a car crash and he was being questioned by the police, and he said he kept on insisting that he was Ronald McDonald.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
I feel like there should definitely be a writer on that contract, except the police.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you have to stay in character, except the police. Like, anything police, you can say who you are.
And then McDonald's also insists that there's only one of him. So even though multiple actors play him, there's only one Ronald McDonald. And the Baltimore Sun, like a newspaper in Baltimore, they questioned McDonald's about this, and they asked like how that's possible if there's multiple actors playing him. And the official statement was supposedly from Ronald himself. It was a quote: "If I told you all my secrets, they wouldn't be secrets anymore. Let's just say that between you and me and Santa, it's magic." So,
So he knows Santa Claus.
yeah, he threw in Santa Claus. So the official stance from McDonald's is that Ronald McDonald can be in more than one place at a time. So there's like multiple Ronald McDonalds, but they're all controlled by one Ronald.
So Ronald McDonald is a hive mind, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. That's an
This is the
official.
worst hive mind to be part of.
That's official lore, though. So I don't know. Does that make him OP? Might make him OP.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that, like, if there's more than one place at once, but I think if you still kill Ronald, I think you still kill Ronald. I think Ronald's dead if you kill any of the Ronalds.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Horcrux situation where he gets like 7 tries. I think it's just you kill the Ronald is dead.
Sure.
And all the other actors have to commit suicide to keep the lore up.
Yeah. There was a lot, I know, but that's all that I have.
All right.
So Marcus, what do you have?
I'm going to the arch nemesis territory, and I am going to talk about the Burger King, also known as the King.
Also known as the other one that comes to mind when we think about this question.
Actually, the original Burger King, way back in the late 60s and early 70s, there's like a small animated series that had nothing interesting in it, but I am being dead serious here. The original name of the king was Kurger Bing.
It's related to Chandler Bing.
I like the idea that they were like, we can't just call him Burger King. What name can we give him?
Swap the letters.
So he's literally called the fucking Kurger Bing originally, but they eventually got rid of that and started calling him he went to 3 iterations. There was Kurger Bing, the wonderful magical Burger King, and the King, which is the modern incarnation in the creepy hat. So I had to choose between these 3. The original Kurger Bing, I couldn't find anything really like much on him. I got half a commercial before my YouTube wouldn't load, and so the commercial went in like there was a inspector or like a private investigator like in a Burger King, or he was a reporter, because that makes the story make sense. So there's a reporter in a Burger King. Sorry, he looked like all the things. He's just like the guy like in the suit, you know. And so Burger King, the Kurger Bing, walks in, and he's like, "Wow, it's the Kurger Bing. So what brings you here?" And he's like, "Lunch." And then my internet cut, and then the video would not load further.
I'm so
internet
curious
just
now.
gave
What was
up.
the rest of that commercial?
There was no more. That was it.
So that was it. So then I had to go look into the next 2 iterations of the King. But actually, before I want to go that, I just kind of want to share with you a small part of the journey I went to looking up the Burger King advertisement campaigns, which I think their philosophy boils down to, fuck it, why not? So, taking us back to the launch of Burger King's now very popular chicken fries. The minds behind Burger King have decided that the thing about chicken fries that people are excited about is that they are the quote-unquote rebellious way to eat chicken. So they went to accompany the launch of the fries with the most rebellious thing they could think of, which was a metal band. So they signed on this metal band. They recorded 4 songs and 2 videos with this metal band. Do you want to take a guess at the name of this chicken fries themed metal band?
Ooh.
I'll save you the trouble. Cock Rock.
Oh my god.
COQROQ.
Dude, were they already making music about chickens?
No, they were signed specifically with a deal with Burger King to promote chicken fries, and they called the band Cock Rock. They have a website and everything. Now, not only that, I love they named all the band members. The lead vocals is called Foul Mouth, Fowl Mouth. The lead guitarist is The Talisman. Rhythm guitar is Kabuki. The bass is Free Range, which makes sense again. The drums is Subsonic. And the fire breather who is in the band is called Firebird. So they got vocals, guitar, bass, drums, and fire breathing.
Like you need, as all good bands have.
So you may not remember this band existing because they never actually managed to do the tour they had planned for the United States. Part of the reason is they hit some early controversy where they had posted some pictures on the website of like the band, and like I want to emphasize this is not like a kiddie band. Like they made like a metal band. Like the videos are like scantily clad groupies and like fire, and like the music is not pleasant or understandable lyrics wise. But they had gotten in some trouble because they had the website launched and they had pictures of their scantily clad groupies and the caption, "Groupies love the cock."
Oh no.
Official Burger King website. I have to emphasize this. But yeah, so it never actually came to fruition.
What year was this?
I guess chicken fries, so like 8 years ago.
I was gonna say this feels like a early to mid 2000s advertising gambit.
Like, and again, so this actually didn't fall apart, not because after that controversy they realized it was a dumb idea, but because the lead singer had a criminal record and couldn't leave Canada to tour. So there's that. And that's like the level of advertisement I'm working on. Like that's like on par for Burger King's average shit.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so, and then I went into, like, the Sneak King, the modern incarnation of the King. And, like, he has a video game, and he has, like, all these commercials, but as far as I can tell, he does nothing. He has no powers, except being creepy.
He just has that creepy grin, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
He just sneaks up on people in ways that you would not normally be able to be sneaked up upon by. Like, he just, like, comic sneaks, like, tippy toes with his giant head, which you can just see him, like, the entire time. And then he just, like, presents a tray of food, and it's like, thanks. So I didn't use the King. So I went back to the wonderful magical Burger King is the one I'm using. So this is the one where he has a little bit, this is very similar to the Ronald McDonald cartoons. He had a little cartoon series going that got accompanied by commercials. And so I didn't have any powers for the Burger King. So I was like, well, maybe he's a king. So he just has his subjects do it. And so he has a whole host of subjects from the Burger King show. He has Sir Shake-a-Lot, the Wizard of Fries, and the Burger Thing. Sounds pretty good, right? Prepare to be disappointed.
Always am.
Let's start with Sir Shake-a-Lot, who is a knight who wears an armor made of Burger King cups, and he has a craving for milkshakes. He always is shivering because he drinks so many milkshakes that he's always cold.
This doesn't seem that helpful.
That's all his powers, is an obsession with milkshakes, Burger King cup armor, and shivering. He has
being cold.
You can tell how much personality they gave him because the entire Wikipedia entry for him was that description, and then Sir Shake-a-Lot voice can be heard in the video game Sneak King commenting, "The King, he's so sneaky." Just loaded with his popular catchphrases. And so I was like, okay, so the knight's kind of a waste. Maybe he can be like at least a meat shield. Like he can still function as a knight, maybe, if I put him in that position. He's just not gonna be very good.
Right.
So the Wizard of Fries. I'm like, this guy's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's a wizard. He has to be good.
No, he's not a wizard. He's a robot.
What?
Wait,
It's not the robot of fries.
So he's a robot with like a glass dome head and like with French fries in it, and he's powered by French fries. His only ability is that he can multi-fry, where he can take a single French fry and duplicate it endlessly.
wait, but he's also powered by French fries.
So he's invented perpetual energy, but he can only use it to make more French fries.
I mean, so he's perpetual energy and a source of for like a cure for all of world hunger.
Well, if you count that as a cure.
He has to choose between living and world hunger, though.
He has to choose between living and saving the world.
Let's hope that he's an altruist.
So it's actually kind of weird because I saw a bunch of commercials with the Wizard of Fries in it as a spectator, but I never actually saw him get to use the multi-fry. So I don't know how fast he can produce fries.
Oh.
So even that is really not that super helpful. So I'm like, fuck, my wizard's already out of it. And then I'm like, okay, at least I got the burger thing. Like I got some big old cuddly monster thing that's gonna at least be like, bear adjacent. And boy, was I disappointed on this guy. The burger thing is a large hamburger puppet designed to be a 3D painting. So he's literally just a painting on the wall that's like, is a talking face. And that is the burger thing.
Not very useful.
So yeah, so that was my subjects, my little subjects, if you will. All of them terrible. So luckily, the wonderful magical Burger King himself does have some powers. So the shtick of all these commercials, once I actually watched them, was that the Burger King would be doing a magic trick for the kids. And the Duke of Doubt would come over and be like, I doubt that. And then he would like do the typical thing you would do to disprove that magic trick. And then it would turn out that the Burger King was actually doing real magic. So some of the stuff he was doing, he was levitation, he was doing telekinesis, he was controlling a rope.
Hey, that's my power.
That's all your powers. Two I kept note of particularly was he had a hula hoop where he made a tiger jump out of it.
Ooh, so he can summon tigers.
He can summon a tiger. They didn't resolve what happened to the tiger after he let it go out. It was kind of like in a series of magical flourishes.
It just went out into the city.
Into this kid's backyard. And then he also had one where they were doing a disco night and the Duke of Doubt wasn't dancing. So he made the whole dance floor move and all the different boards shimmy and shake in different directions to trip him up.
So he can manipulate floors.
He can manipulate floors. He's got a hula hoop tiger. He can control, he can telekinesis things, including ropes. He can levitate and fly. And they did the bit where he was like, oh, Burger King, if you're so good, make me a shake. And then he turns them into a literal shake.
Classic.
Except it was weird because it was very much just him in a shake. I'm not sure if he got turned into a shake or was just trapped in a big shake. It might have been a little bit of both. He still had his normal head poking out of the top. So there's some gray area of how much his metamorphing magic can affect somebody.
Right.
So that's all the fast food mascots. So I don't know what you did, Ben.
Yeah, so listener, you may have noticed that we talked about fast food mascots and have named the only two you can come up with off the top of your head already. And there are three
there's
of
Wendy,
us.
but she's probably not a
yeah.
good
So
competitor.
there's Wendy, who's a redhead chick, and there's the Colonel, who's an old white dude.
He's just a real guy.
He's also just a real guy. So neither of those seem particularly fruitful. So we had to kind of scrounge around a little bit. I looked into a couple options. Looked into Chuck E. Cheese, who, by the way, Chuck E. Cheese actually has a very depressing backstory. He was an orphan, and because of that, he didn't know his own birthday. So, he always just, celebrated birthdays vicariously through people, which is why he loves birthdays so much.
That's a really sad premise for the restaurant.
It almost gets worse, because, because of that, he also somehow he winds up enjoying playing Pong, the video game, not the drinking game. And he wins a Pong tournament and wins $50 and spends all that money on a bus ticket to New York and winds up living in a pizza restaurant until eventually the guy who owns it sees him and freaks out. And then Chuck E. Cheese tells him that he can sing, and the guy makes him sing for his customers to bring in customers. And that's how Chuck E. Cheese started. I don't know, man.
What? What?
Too
Also,
real.
also, his
What?
his official name is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Oh, well,
Which is-
that makes sense. He was born
great.
to be
My
an
middle
entertainer.
name's Entertainment.
Yep. So anyway, there wasn't actually a whole lot there because in the commercials all it really does is like wear a helmet and play
He
a guitar
skateboards.
sometimes. Yeah. So not a whole lot there. So eventually, what I settled on at the suggestion of Chris actually was the Noid. Now, listener, you may be asking yourself, the fuck is the Noid? That's a reasonable question. That's a reasonable question. The Noid is a former mascot of Domino's Pizza. Created in the 80s, which, if you look at the Noid, explains a lot. The Noid sort of, because once again, there's a very real chance you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, sort of for a physical description, the Noid is he's like a very squat man in like a red jumpsuit with rabbit ears.
If you took Roger from Who Framed Roger Rabbit and put him in one of those, like a red spandex one-piece suit,
It's like a human version of Roger.
Yeah, because he also just has like a weird like middle-aged man face, but
Yeah.
the top of it's covered by the mask. I don't know. Just look him up. Take a gander. You know, sort of get y'all on the same page here.
yeah, take like Roger Rabbit, like I guess Jessica Rabbit for the red, and then I guess the Chuck E. Cheese mouse maybe for the right facial structure. Put them in a blender and then kick the shit out of
Honestly,
it.
the face kind of reminds me of Kramer from Seinfeld, but like thin at the top. Maybe it's just the picture I'm looking at right now. But anyway, that's the Noid. The Noid is basically, and this is like taken from the Wikipedia page on him, the Noid is the physical manifestation of all of the challenges inherent in getting a pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less. So the idea
Very
is-
specific.
the idea behind the ad campaign is that anytime your pizza is delayed, it was caused by the Noid. Or if it's cold when it gets there, or it gets squashed on the way there or something, that was always the Noid.
Oh, so he's an enemy of Domino's.
Yes, he is very much an enemy of Domino's. And in fact, he is thwarted by Domino's Pizza. His methods do not work on their pizza. Which we will get to that. And to some trouble that got Domino's into. So sort of to go through his workshop here, the tools we have to work with the Noid. A lot of his stuff is very like Wile E. Coyote. It's just that the Noid is kind of a like mad scientist figure in some ways. So some of the things that he uses, he has like a pogo stick sort of thing, but the bottom of it is like a giant weight on the bottom labeled Pizza Crusher. And he like jumps on that and bounces around and like smashes pizzas. And it's obviously very heavy because it like leaves craters on the ground as he's jumping.
Okay.
So there's that. There's some sort of like ice gun. Think of like an old school flamethrower with like the backpack, but for making things cold instead of on fire, which he uses to like cool down pizzas and make them like frosty. And one ad, he uses this like he gets on this like crazy like rocket sled thing with a boxing glove on the front that is very much Wile E. Coyote. That he tries to knock on a wall with.
Does he succeed?
No, they like open the door and he just flies through it and like rides off into the sunset while screaming. He's a very violent like crazy figure as well, who is like enraged by pizza. I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm trying to imagine how this campaign came about. Like, all the different things that's hard to deliver the pizza in 30 minutes. So did they get a bunch of complaints,
Marcus,
from their drivers about...
the way it came about is that it was the 80s, so there was cocaine.
Follow me on this little small mental journey. I'm the head of marketing, or I guess relations in like employee relations
Right.
at Domino's, and I get a bunch of complaints from all of my drivers all across the world because they're like, hey, we can't deliver pizzas in 30 minutes. It's horrible. It's causing us to drive recklessly. There's all this shit going down and we're losing money. It's like very stressful and terrible. And here's all the things like that happened to us that we couldn't control that ruined the 30 minutes. And the guy's like, this gives me an idea for an ad campaign.
Marcus, we are going to loop back to most of what you just said in just a minute once I finish these powers. Believe me, we're going to get there. Hold on tight. Last couple little like tool things he has. And one, he just has straight up bombs. Just like cartoon style,
Fuck.
like, black spherical bombs with a fuse. Just has bombs. Yeah. And then in one, he also has like a weather control machine. There's one ad where he shows up as like a wizard and makes a pizza cold. But that might have just been him like dressing up. He's always like some like wizard cosplays. I'm gonna really count him as like having magic because he only shows up that one time, and he's shown making pizza cold with technology before. So I think he was just having fun there.
So he's refined the pizza cold technology.
Exactly, yeah. And then sort of the other important thing aside from these tools that he has is that the Noid obeys cartoon physics. So the two like examples I have of this, there's one where he runs through a wall and just goes straight through it and leaves a Noid-shaped hole.
Classic.
And then in the commercial with the bombs, he's blown up by his own bomb, and he's flung out into space where he like sort of like waves and looks like bashful / confused, and falls back down to Earth and is flattened on impact, but is still alive.
I'm sure if he walked off a cliff, he wouldn't fall unless he looked down.
Exactly. He's very, very Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote is very much the shtick that they were going for with the Noid. So those I think is two main things for his various like pizza destroying gadgets and his cartoon physics situation. And there's one more little like sort of intangible edge I think the Noid has, which is that the Noid has been responsible for the loss of human life. So apparently there's a very real issue, as Marcus was pointing out, where because of this 30-minute guarantee that Domino's had, where delivery drivers were driving recklessly, and apparently there were accidents and deaths that wound up being attributed to the 30-minute guarantee promotion, and Domino's was sued for millions of dollars, including one suit for $50 million. And as a result of these, that was actually why the Noid ad campaign was ended. So, I think that the Noid has a psychological edge because he has caused death. Just putting that out there.
Okay.
So, keep that in mind. Also, there was this one weird incident where there was this guy named Kenneth Lamar Noid who was mentally ill and thought the ads were a personal attack on him, and he held the employees of a Domino's in Atlanta hostage for 5 hours. So apparently he forced them to make him a special pizza and a salad, and then made demands for $100,000, a getaway car, and a copy of The Widow's Son, which is some book, I don't know. The employees like got away, and then he surrendered to police. I don't know. But that also happened too.
Interesting.
Who knows? Not really relevant, but interesting. So
I like to imagine he did it while dressed up as the Noid for his, secret identity costume, and he just walks in, he's like, "I'm not the Noid." It's like, you look a little bit like the Noid. I'm just a Noid.
Anyway, that is what the Noid brings to the table. So I guess we have to figure out
who would win.
Who would win?
Yeah. So let's start off. So let's set the stage. I like the idea that you guys had before we started recording, of doing it in a mall food court.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where we just all have, our restaurant behind us, and it is just closing time, and we just had a big, bitter argument about stealing customers from each other. And now we're going to throw down. Does anyone have a particular strategy? Because my strategy was to kind of just send out my shitty minions first.
So I'm not going to lie, I don't think the Noid is one who's much for strategy. I think he's going to kind of just like fucking go for it. Yeah, he's 100% wild card.
So it sounds like the king isn't great.
This is reasonable.
I don't think the king will do that well.
I have a slight initiative advantage against Ronald McDonald because I just have levitation. I don't have to pick one of my 12 flying methods to get off the fucking ground.
Well, I think his main flying method is balloons.
Okay.
But flight isn't really that useful in a food court.
Not particularly, no.
But I can rotate the room. I don't know if that's useful.
Well, I can make the floor move, so now we're just in the fucking barf dome.
Yeah.
Apparently the Noid just like tossing bombs and like bouncing around on this weird pile driver thing, so...
Oh my god, so basically what we have now is we have a spinning room on which I guess the floor keeps switching, on which the walls and floors are moving, and then the fucking Noid running around like a cartoon character throwing bombs that are now being transported Bomberman style around conveyor belt moving floors.
Yes.
Is it really just random who wins?
I think it's 100% random. Okay, I'm gonna say, all right, so there's one thing in the Noid's favor is that apparently he's I'm gonna guess that he is much harder to kill than Ronald and the King.
Ronald did get struck by lightning and he survived. I didn't mention that.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Well, that doesn't make him any more resilient than regular people.
That is actually a very compelling argument.
Like that makes him like 1/7 as resilient, like like as some people.
I think you're right though. That it's actually pretty random.
Okay, so I have telekinesis. Okay, so I can telekinesis the Noid's bombs. That gives me some advantage right there.
Yeah, telekinesis
True.
is pretty useful.
That's useful.
So the Burger King is now floating in the middle of this chaos, hands held out to his sides, floating bombs around with his mind, like, and probably going after Ronald first, I would guess.
I would assume so. Yeah. I think there's more bad blood there.
There's some bombs coming at you, Chris. What are you gonna do?
There's bombs coming at me. Well, I have that scroll door thing that I can like deflect the bombs, or I can like capture the bombs in my door, I guess.
And just shoot them off into whatever other dimension that goes to.
Yeah, or I could just fly. I could avoid them.
Avoid the Noid.
Yeah, avoid the Noid.
All right, Marcus, do you have any way to dispose of the Noid? Because I honestly think the way this goes, and sort of the way what I was thinking coming into it, is that the way the Noid loses is by being transported somewhere else, which Chris has a way to do.
Yes.
I can turn him into a shake. He's cartoony, so it would definitely work on him.
That is true.
Other than that, I don't know how the Noid would fare against just like a tiger.
Also, the Noid might still be effective as a shake.
That's also true.
The Noid might be more effective as a shake.
That's actually probably true.
Wait, he's basically all Frost Ray then.
Oh, you're right. Interesting.
Oh, but no, because I got a combo attack. Because I can turn you into a shake and then send Sir Shake-a-Lot at you and have him drink you. And then you're fucked. Because Sir Shake-a-Lot will do anything to get to that shake.
That is true.
So you did mention the side characters in yours. Ronald McDonald has a ton of side characters I didn't include because there's a lot of them.
Well, here's my argument. Here's my argument for that. You have friends. I have subjects.
Okay, they're under your
true.
command.
Yeah.
Like one of them is literally a knight and a wizard. Like that's my royal entourage. I send them on missions. They are my loyal subjects.
Yeah. Okay.
The Noid rides solo. No one wants to be around the Noid.
So okay. Yeah. I
Also,
still have
while this is going on, try to imagine that like on the other side of the wall, like maybe from Burger King's food court, like Burger King, like in the kitchen, there's a metal band playing called Cock Rock, and they're playing their song about chickens crossing the road, where the entire video was basically like, again, scantily clad groupies on one side of the street, and the band members dressed up as chickens, as they tend to be, like their chicken-esque metal costumes, basically getting out of their car and then immediately getting hit by a car.
That's wonderful.
And exploding into a burst of feathers. So just add that to the mental image. Actually, the band has a fire breather, which is more helpful than all my minions put together.
All right, so do we have enough to give like percentages like we did last time?
I guess so.
So I think what happens is, I think if we hit the ground, I think the Noid gets us by being a fucking crazy motherfucker.
Right. I think that's kind of, I feel like just that the King and Ronald are not prepared for the savagery of the Noid.
So it's going to be like a mage duel in the middle between the Burger King and Ronald. And then whoever, in that duel, if someone gets knocked down onto the ground, they get killed by the Noid. And then it's, can the Noid defeat an airborne opponent?
Right.
Wait, did you say the king can fly?
Yeah.
Oh, he can.
Yeah, he can
Okay.
levitate. That's one of the things that he does in one of the...
Right. Yeah.
So I got bombs, you got a scroll. I think you have overall probably just slightly better magic than the king. Like
I would agree
based
with
on
that, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe like
Also,
the wizard duel
all your subjects are like food.
useless.
Well, they're food. They're food too, and I have the I'm hungry guy that can just eat them.
Oh, that's
Well, I think
true.
the way that works is the Wizard of Fries just makes infinite fries, and the
Oh,
food
they just
monster
cancel
eats
each other
infinite
out,
fries.
yeah.
And then they just cancel each other out in a corner somewhere.
They actually just go get
Okay.
married. They're made for each other.
Yeah, they are made for each other.
That's the happy ending. Nobody wins. It's just the Wizard of Fries and the
And
food
I'm
monster.
hungry.
I'm
Just
hungry.
go out and,
And I'm
live a happy life together.
So is it the Wizard of Hungry or I Am Fries?
Oh, I am fries, definitely.
Okay, yeah. So actual winning percentages. So I think it would be 60-40 for Ronald McDonald versus the King in the air.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
That
can
seems
I agree
reasonable.
with that.
Okay, so then the Noid.
The Noid is more of
Basically-
a wild card.
The Noid complicates things.
So the Noid is going to take away from the 60-40 percentages from.
Yeah. I feel like the final percentages are going to be a lot more even than we've had in the past.
Yeah, I'd agree.
What do you have? So you have bombs for range attacks, and what else do you
Bombs
have?
and like
You
the
have that
ice gun. Yeah.
thing.
Oh, the ice gun's
The ice gun's
good.
pretty good. Yeah, exactly. So I think it winds up being like 60% Noid overall, 50% Noid. I don't know, something like that, and then split the rest between like 60-40 between you guys.
I think it's hard to say.
It's tough. This is a very difficult one. This is very difficult.
I think it's pretty close between Ronald and the Noid.
Maybe like 35, 35, 30?
Maybe.
That's reasonable.
Like a slight edge to the Noid and the Donald.
Yeah,
maybe,
but that
maybe
doesn't conclude a winner.
So I guess that's the question. Is there an edge for Ronald or the Noid? I think that if the king has passed, the Noid has an edge over Ronald. I feel like. I don't think it's huge, but I think it's there.
Yeah. So what? I guess what does Ronald have against the ice ray? I think that's the key one.
That's a good question.
What does he have against the ice ray?
You got 4 pages of powers, buddy.
I know.
Too bad all of them are flying.
It's gotta be in there somewhere. Gotta be some way you can fly away from this.
Well, it depends on if I can use that being in more than one place at a time thing.
No. I think you get iced, Because you can't put 2 Ronalds in the same room. That's definitely against company policy.
That's a good point.
That is a good point, actually. Yeah. Okay. So that power is useless to me.
I think the ice ray kind of.
Yeah, I don't think I really have anything against the ice.
So maybe it is like 60% Noid, and then.
Well, here's the thing. I think I beat the Noid because I have my moving dance floor. It's gonna be fuck all impossible for you to aim while I'm moving the dance floor.
Well, I can rotate the room if you're looking at that angle.
But I think as you rotate the room, you can still aim. Like, it doesn't kill your footing as much. Like,
that's true.
You rotate it once, and it's more smooth.
Okay.
So now we all beat each other in a rock paper scissors.
Yeah,
matchup.
It just depends on who's fighting who first.
So you're fighting. So the 2 wizards fight first. So let's say.
I think Ronald will beat the king.
Yeah.
I think it's 50 Noid, 30 20.
That sounds reasonable.
That sounds reasonable.
So it's probably going to be the Noid versus Ronald, and the Noid's going to win that fight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But if the king has a real chance against Ronald, and Ronald has a chance against the Noid, and so it could go... There's probably a fucking probability chart we could do up. But 50, 30, 20 feels right to me, and that does actually give us...
Yeah.
50, 30, 20 works for me.
All right.
Okay. So the Noid would win.
Avoid the Noid.
Yeah, definitely avoid the Noid is the name of the fucking game.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't exist anymore, so yeah.
Actually, he was brought back briefly in the like early 2000 or like around 2011.
Oh my god, nobody needs that.
Nope.
Nobody needs that at all.
No one does. Oh god, apparently it can be seen briefly in the background of a 2017 Domino's ad, so he's still lurking.
Oh, he's planning something.
God, no. So to avoid any more Noid talk, I'm just going to end the episode and to go into next week's questions. But before I do that, I'd like to remind everybody to please subscribe to our podcast. Send us questions. We love to get listener questions.
Yeah,
definitely.
Any other questions or comments for the show, send us an email, absurdhypotheticals@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. And now, for next week's questions, what if shadows didn't exist? And what if all sports balls weighed 10 pounds?